Hi, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Soulful Living with Megs. As always, it is so great to have you here back for a moment of connection with me. Hi, my beautiful friends. Happy Monday. I hope you're doing so well. I hope your weekend was fantastic and that you're feeling fulfilled in all of the areas that you wish to be fulfilled in. I am going to start off by saying I'm not feeling 100% today, so if my energy feels a little bit lower, that is why. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I definitely feel like my body has been in go, go, go mode for the last few weeks, if not the last couple months. And so, I don't know, finally having a break this weekend after I got back from seeing my cousins from Friday to Saturday. I don't know, I've just been feeling super run down. I guess I was feeling a little off last week toward the end of the week, but like every time I sleep and wake up the next day, I feel better, but I don't know, there's just something lingering in my body. I know I was in a big crowd last Tuesday. I was seeing one of my good friends, Kaya. She's visiting from the States, and it's just so nice to always see her come visit home for a bit. But we were in a big crowd because of FIFA, so I don't know if it was just like all the bodies and then the heat on top of that. No airflow, not sure. Also, I was up late a few nights of this week just because of that. And then also, I went to my old dance company's performance on Thursday, which was so great. But just like the inconsistent sleep, I guess, especially with the heat. And then we also have this like weather shift now where it's starting to rain again. I don't know what's going on. Not feeling 100%, but I'm doing my best to rest now before the week, especially because I leave on Friday for Stampede. I'm going to be hopefully pre-recording an episode for you earlier on this coming up week so that next week, while I'm still there, I can just upload, no problem, all that. But, it'll be a busy weekend coming up this weekend here, and then the following weekend I'm going to Victoria. So it's been a lot and it's going to be a lot. So I'm just hoping that my body can like rest the next couple days and not get more sick than I feel. Like I don't think I'm going to be sick, but it just feels kind of like throat a little bit sore, body a little bit achy, and I'm hoping it doesn't get worse than that. But yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying I'm not 100%, but I'm going to do my best to be as enthusiastic as I can. Just wanted to let you guys know where I'm coming from. A couple more updates. I watched the movie Obsession with my friend Camilla this week, and if you have not seen it yet, you absolutely should. It's definitely a psychological thriller. I kind of knew what it was about, but I didn't really read any of the spoilers online because I know it's been out for a while, but it was quite intense, I will say. And I don't even think I was that freaked out by it because horror and like psychological thrillers don't stress me out that much. But the parts that did stress me out were mainly when they were screaming loudly. It's just like loud sounds like that kind of affect me. I don't really know how to explain it, but that was kind of jarring. But other than that, like it was a very well done movie and very impressive that they had such a low budget and now it's, sold, I don't know, triple the amount that their budget was. I have no idea. That's just a random guess, but I heard it did really well, which is fantastic. And I guess last update for you, I went to see my cousins in North Van, and they live in the woods, quite far in the woods. And not even like 15 minutes into me visiting, our power went out. And I guess some electricity poles kind of snapped from a tree that broke and ricocheted to a bunch of others. So everybody in that area needed to stay home. And the fire department was there right away trying to like clean up and figure out, okay, what's happening. But yeah, we had no power for the rest of the night. I don't think I've spent that much time away from my phone, which is crazy that we rely on this little piece of technology so much. Like it's just constantly with us. But to be honest, it was actually really nice to have it not on because I obviously didn't want to, well, I had it on, but I didn't want to use it because I didn't know when I could charge it. And I needed it for traveling home, but it was nice. Like, I spent some time outside with my cousin and just like seeing the greenery and the beautiful ocean. It was super serene and extra quiet because there was nothing running, if that makes sense. I had to get ready, in the dark with a little lamp. Like, I felt like I was camping, but it was glamping. Anyway, it was actually really fun, and I know kind of inconvenient timing for sure, and like with food and stuff, but they made the most of it, and like they got everything in like freezers, and the generator was going to like work for the deep freeze. Anyway, it seems to be good, but I hope they get power soon. But it was just so nice to see my family and to see my little cousins. I have not seen them in a long time, so that was really special. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a week, of hopefully a little bit more relaxation before my crazy stampede weekend. It's not going to be that crazy, but it's going to be busy, which I'm excited about. But yeah, those were my updates for you, and hoping that smooth sailing for the rest of the week. Today, we're going to talk about different red and green flags to look out for in terms of like romantic relationships. And I did a partner to single episode about this before regarding red flags I wish I knew were red flags sooner. And, I thought it was a good idea to bring in some research from online because I think a lot of what I had was my own experience from past relationships and what I considered red flags. And I also wanted to talk about the positive green flags because at the end of the day, as humans, I think we want to be loved and love the people in our lives. And those positive attributes in terms of green flags should be celebrated. I think we focus a lot on the negative. So I do want to focus on, okay, like, are you bringing these green flags to the table? What is your partner bringing to the table? How can they be celebrated? Because they should be. And I wanted to start off with the red flags, just to get that negativity out of the way and end on a high note, I guess. But I just want to remind you guys that I'm not a licensed therapist. And if I do touch on a red flag and my opinion on this red flag doesn't align with yours, that's okay. I just want you to take what you need and leave the rest out. Whatever doesn't resonate with you, that is absolutely okay. I just wanted to remind you that I'm not a professional in this area, just something that, I'm reading these things online and trying to form an opinion on for myself and how it affects my life. So let's get into the red flags in relationships. And it does go both ways for you or them. So I might be talking about, interchangeably. For the most part, I will say they in terms of like if your partner is showing this. But of course, if you notice, like it could be you who shows these signs as well and something to make note of and how maybe you wish to change or if you're in a relationship right now and you're a bit unsure, but it feels not the best or not the healthiest, maybe your partner's displaying some of these red flags and something to make note of to move forward in accordance with, maybe what aligns more with your values and what you believe in. Oh, and I should also say I'm going to link the websites that I found this information. Most of it is from there, and then I kind of take my own spin off of course, but I'll definitely link the references in the show notes if you wanted to check them out yourself. The first thing that I have here is they're unwilling to talk about past relationships. For me, it's important to discuss past relationships in order to understand past and how they wish to be treated now, what they learned from it, etc. So if your partner is unwilling to talk about their past with you, I'm not saying it's like a complete red flag, but it could mean that they're not looking for a serious committed relationship. And while I understand some people are uncomfortable talking about past situations and what hurt them, I do feel like it's an important part to understanding how your partner treats you and how they wish to be treated. So talking about past relationships, yes, while it's not the most ideal thing to do, I do think it's necessary just to learn more. It's all about that data collection, and if they are so closed off, maybe start asking yourself, why is my partner unwilling to open up about anything in their past? Because you don't know unless you find out from them, So take note of that. Number 2, their stress is impacting their ability to be a good partner to you and also put you as a priority. To me, this is a very important red flag to consider because while I understand we all have hardships in our lives, if your partner's level of stress is affecting their ability to value your needs and the relationship as a whole, it's something to take note of, as this might lead to more conflict. Your partner does have, a level of priority that they need to put you at just because you're probably doing the same for them and you deserve, just as much effort as you put in. But if they're so stressed out and it kind of clouds their ability to value you and your relationship, like I said earlier, it might start affecting the relationship more than you think. Number 3, they are frequently jealous. I think a little jealousy is totally normal and okay, but an unhealthy amount to the point where you may be interrogated all the time is not a good sign of a secure partner. In a relationship, obviously, I'm sure you know this, there needs to be trust. And while someone is allowed to feel jealous, especially, if they've been cheated on in the past, they've been wronged in that type of way before, this behavior could potentially lead to possessiveness. So it's definitely something to take note of if you're noticing, wow, my partner is grilling me every single time I leave the house. That insecurity is not going to be the greatest for your relationship or your well-being. Number 4, they're unwilling to compromise. I think some of us are stubborn to an extent, and I definitely am sometimes myself. But if your partner is unwilling to listen and unwilling to compromise or be open with discussions that you have, this is not a sign of a willing participant in a relationship. And I've said this before for sure, but it takes two to tango. So if your partner is so stubborn to the point where they cannot listen to anybody but themselves, not the greatest sign to continue potentially in this relationship. Number 5, they don't introduce you to who matters and their inner circle. I have had firsthand experience with this on a family level, and I've definitely talked about that before. And for me, it didn't feel good at all to not be introduced to family, because you deserve to be shown off to the people that they value outside of a romantic relationship, because these people are part of your partner's everyday life, and chances are they have molded your partner in some shape or form because you are who you surround yourself with, and you deserve to be a part of their lives as well, especially if you're integrated in your partner's life. The 6th red flag that I have for you here is you constantly argue and they lack communication skills needed to resolve conflict. Okay, in relationship there are conflicts. There's definitely going to be arguments. That's a given. But you shouldn't be constantly fighting about every single thing. And yes, I understand there's tiffs, but if you constantly fight and they can't communicate what they need or how to move forward, I do think you should note this red flag and see how frequent it is, because it's not going to create longevity in your relationship or peace for that matter, really. Number 7, there are issues with intimacy and neither of you discuss it. So, as we know, and as this kind of makes the world go round, sex in a relationship is very important. And while it does ebb and flow, and I can totally understand that, if you're unable to discuss this topic with your partner, it can take a serious toll on your relationship. And lots of couples, a lot of leading causes for breakups are, financial stress. I've heard that. Intimacy issues where you're not intimate anymore, and either that attraction's not there, you just don't discuss how you can fix it, you don't go see somebody for it. Like, these are serious causes for relationships to end. So take note of, how your intimacy levels are, because, and I mean, also understand that some people may not find it as important as other people, but if you are somebody that finds intimacy extremely important in your relationship and you need that, then you should have a partner that values it to that same extent that you do. And if you don't have that, maybe you need to figure out why, or if this is the right fit for you. Number 8, you or they stop putting an effort into small gestures that are meaningful to you or your partner. This lack of effort can have a big strain on your relationship, and I think it is similar to the point we discussed about the lack of consideration. I think there was a saying where it was like you should never stop dating your partner, you should never stop pursuing your partner, and I'm a big believer in that. I feel like especially when, the honeymoon phase, whatever, quote unquote, that wears off or you get way more comfortable, it's years down the line, it isn't going to be as exciting or enthralling and fulfilling as it was right in the beginning when you had this crush and oh my gosh, everything felt like a big deal. Like I get that, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't stop dating your partner. That doesn't mean you should stop pursuing them. That doesn't mean that you should stop putting in any effort into the things that they find meaningful. So, writing little sticky notes to yourself. I see my family do that with each other. I'm thinking of two cousins in particular where they write sticky notes, and it's just a cute little gesture and reminder. And I mean, something I love to do in my life as well. And I like to consider my partner when I am with partner to, what is going to benefit the both of us in this moment? Or, can I consider them if I'm out doing something or, oh, I'm stopping to pick this up. Why don't I grab this because I know it's their favorite? Like, these are small little things that show appreciation. And if you're not receiving that and your partner just lacks a care, then I think it's something to take note of, that this may be a bigger red flag than you think. Number 9, we're almost done here. There's a few more. There is no consultation before making big decisions. I think it goes without saying that could be a red flag, especially if you're, down the road in a relationship. Like, you need to start having conversation about what is this going to look like in the future. Are we going to move together? Are we moving cities? Or say they get a new job and then relocate? Like, is there a conversation about that with you before they make that jump? How does that affect you in your life? And if you have kids, for example, like, they need to consider them too. So if they're jumping into making choices that are going to affect everybody in the family, like, that's something to take note of. And it would be nice to consider in those especially big life-changing decisions, because if you've been together for a while, like, it's going to affect you. Number 10, huge red flag here. They belittle you. This is not the same as a playful joke. I don't want to say they can't joke with you. You're allowed to have banter. You're allowed to tease and make fun of each other as long as both parties are having fun. I think that is perfectly reasonable and okay in a relationship. But what is not okay is if they put you down, if they belittle you and, say something about your character that you're not, and it's like they find it funny but you don't, and it hurts your feelings. That's not joking, and that's not kind at all. And why would you want a partner who's disrespectful to you in that way anyway? Number 11, they try to guilt you or make you feel bad for wanting healthy, independent time apart. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, especially in codependent relationships, and again, I'm not an expert on this, I feel like people, rely upon each other, and healthy distance is super key in a relationship, and it's important to maintain your independence along with being in a partnership, because you're not always going to be with them 24/7. And if your partner is making you feel bad for wanting to go like on a girls trip or wanting to hang out with your family or wanting to just spend time with yourself and not them, something to consider is like, why do they have an issue with it? Why don't they have a healthy relationship with themselves? Like, are they insecure to the point that they can't spend time alone? Or do they not have an inner circle? And if they don't, can we figure out why? Why do you need to support them 100% and be with them all the time? Healthy time apart is very important in a relationship. The last red flag that I have here is you are their everything, similar to the thing that I was just talking about before, but this shouldn't be the case. And while it is nice to feel wanted, if they rely on you for anything and everything, don't have friends outside of the relationship, and only want to be with you 24/7, this is not healthy or sustainable, and over time, you will start to be torn down, I feel, and not able to put an effort and energy into your other relationships outside of this current relationship. And, in terms of red flags, I feel like the bottom line that I wanted to address is that when you're in a relationship when things change. And especially for women, like we have this sixth sense for this kind of behavioral change. And I think if you notice it, it should be taken note of instead of brushed off to the side because, you don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations or maybe you don't want to believe it to be true, but you deserve to be in a healthy and committed relationship filled with understanding, grace, love, and healthy communication. And I don't want you to stop until you find that. And while you're in a relationship, continue searching for that, and they will keep giving that to you and show them each and every day, like, this is how I deserve to be treated. And, I hope you do the same for them. But those are some red flags, that I found online that I think are very red flags, some of them more subtle than not, but definitely to take note of and to not ignore. And honestly, I think a lot of these red flags are flags that, unless we experience them, we don't really know or understand. I think from an outside point of view, it can be obvious, but when you're in the middle of it, sometimes you don't understand that it's happening, or like I said, it's super subtle, but they're so important to note. And then the more you see them in other people, the easier you can clock them and just say, like, no, I want something different for my life, and I'm going to go get it. And then how do you, shift that mind and move forward into a relationship that's better aligned for you, if that makes sense. Okay, also, I feel like I'm talking extremely fast today. I don't know if it's because, I'm like, oh, my throat's not great. Let's get this talking out of the way. But anyway, sorry if I'm speaking too quickly. But I wanted to get on to the green flags because, again, these good attributes in your partner and in yourself, because I'm sure you have these too, should be celebrated and just, made note of, like, wow, okay, I think I am in a healthy relationship and it fuels me and sustains me and makes me feel loved. So these are so wonderful, and I hope that you think of these, especially in the times where, if you're in a toxic relationship, it's like that these can exist. So I wouldn't stop until you find them. Number 1, you feel light and good around them. You ultimately feel like yourself. Number 2, they talk about their friends, family, and exes in a positive light. I think this is super key to take note of how your partner talks about other people in their life and how they address others that are not in their life at this time. Because it shows a lot of who they are as a human being and how they respected or respect the current or past people in their life in terms of how they address them and talk about them. So if they speak about everyone pretty much in a positive light, then I think it's a wonderful sign. Number 3, they make you feel emotionally safe to express yourself and your needs. Even if that means they're holding space for all of your emotions over small things, I think it's a great sign. It's okay to feel the things that you need to feel, even if sometimes you feel, maybe this is irrational or it's so small. Why am I making a mountain out of a molehill? Well, if your partner allows you to express yourself and hold that safe space, it will continue to remind you, like, okay, I'm safe here and I can express my needs without being judged or ridiculed by them. Number 4, they are receptive to feedback and discussion about conflict. This is such a good one, and it means they can handle themselves in a mature and well-tempered way if they are receptive to what you're saying in terms of, okay, we have this conflict, how can we resolve it? What am I doing on my end that I'm not doing enough of that could support you more, or vice versa? Like, I need this from you in this moment when we're going through this. And if you guys can have a mature conversation about it, and people are wrong, we're not right all the time. So if you can put your guard down and your ego aside and say, I see your side of it, and maybe I'm in slight disagreement, but I totally see how I went wrong there. So, yeah, I'm going to take your feedback, and I definitely, moving forward, will think twice before, whatever. But handling themselves in a mature way is a very good sign. Number 5, they listen, genuinely listen to you. This is such a good, sign of a green flag. And I think all of this, honestly, guys, goes toward platonic and romantic relationships. You want the people in your life to genuinely listen to you. And if they remember things about you and want to learn more about you, they're going to stop and listen. And actually, I'm trying to think of the actual phrasing of listening, because it's one thing to just like sit and be like, yeah, okay, listen, but it's another to be that I can't think of the word as to active listening. I think it's active listening, where they're taking that feedback and like actually keeping it in their brain. And that's how they remember things about you, is if they actually listen, or they understand about you and your past and what you've been through and what you need in the future. Number 6, they have friends and long-term friendships that have been sustained. I think this green flag can be overlooked sometimes because, I don't know, I think if your partner has good friends and solid people in their life, they will stick around. And I think it's noteworthy if your partner has friends that they can confide in and build relationships with, that they're used to communicating and overcoming conflict. And I think these are good signs, because it's inevitable that, they're going to come across issues to communicate with their people. So if they have friendships that have lasted the test of time, that they've been through thick and thin together, it is a great sign that they can resolve conflict and communicate healthily and just have good people in their life that are there for them and to show them that, I'm here for you. It's a wonderful sign. Number 7, they have self-love. There doesn't seem to be any threat to the love that you give yourself either. And their insecurities, because, everyone's going to have insecurities, is not linked to how they treat you. And if they have true self-love for themselves and want to do better and want to continue loving themselves, you loving yourself is not going to affect them at all. And also their insecurities are not going to take over to the point where it will affect your relationship. You can talk about them, absolutely, but it's not going to cause conflict and damper the feelings in your relationship or how your partner treats you, if that makes sense. Number 8, they want to learn your love languages and how you can be helped. This is a great flag because it means, they're receptive to understanding what type of communication style suits you best. And they want to genuinely know that about you so that they can show you the love in which you desire to, receive. Number 9, they have their own opinions and don't just go along with everything you say. This is a subtle green flag, but it's a great sign because it means that they show independence and have opinions about the world. And it's actually nice to have differences in lifestyle and differing opinions, as long as you're both okay with the differences and having them coexist. Where it might not be the best match for you if there, is huge differences in certain values, because of course that may cause conflict in the future with respect to children or household expectations, political or religious beliefs, etc. But like if you have differences and your partner has opinions on them and is able to address them and discuss them, it's great. And it doesn't have to be differences. Like you could have opinions on the same thing, but the point is that they just don't say yes to everything or go along with what you want. It's like they have their own life and their own beliefs, which is a wonderful thing because, again, the independence aspect is huge for this. Number 9, they don't assume the worst about you. To me, this means, you can live independent lives, and if your partner doesn't hear from you for a few hours or whatnot, they don't assume something is wrong right away. And to be honest, like in past relationships, I have had moments where I've been anxious and that anxiety takes over. And, if my partners from the past have switched their normal routine and, I'm kind of aware of what they do on a daily basis and when they would reach out, I would get worried if I, didn't hear from them with that expectation. Like, okay, yeah, usually I talk to them now, but that's just my own insecurity talking. And if your partner is secure enough in themselves and the relationship, spending time apart won't make them question or second guess the relationship. To be so quick to say, oh, they're cheating on me, or oh, they're not talking to me, it must be catastrophic, or they've changed their tune, like that's something to take note of if that's how you feel. Maybe talk to your therapist and figure out, okay, what is this root cause and why do I feel like this? Because you or they shouldn't assume this worst thing about you, that things are just going to shift. Life happens and people are busy. And, if they make an effort or say, hey, I can't talk for a few hours, then great. Don't assume that, there's something crazy bad, negative happening. Number 11, they consider you always. I mean, of course, we would hope that would, considering one of the red flags is that they don't consider, a green flag is that they do. Even during a rough patch in a relationship, they still consider you. And I feel like it's inevitable that there will be conflicts in your relationship, but if you have a partner that does consider you always, even during those moments, I think it means they have your best interest at heart and hold that as high as they hold theirs, which is a great sign. Number 12, we have 2 more left, you guys. They are able to take accountability and reflect. This is big, big, big in terms of maturity and emotional maturity, but great sign in a relationship. If they're able to own up to mistakes they make, it's a wonderful thing. And I hope that you can do the same as well, because again, it's inevitable that you're going to make mistakes. Every single person does, but if you're able to own up and apologize and say, yep, this was 100% on me, wonderful sign. Number 13, it feels easier than more difficult. I mean, yeah, this is obviously a green flag because you want to feel good in your partnership. And if you're experiencing the easy most of the time, then it's a great sign that this is probably a healthy relationship for you, because yes, there's conflict, we know that, but there shouldn't be more conflict than not. You should have it easier than not. And I hope that you strive for that, because again, you deserve to have the most healthy relationship and to feel good all the time and to have a partner who's going to be there for you in the times of stress and turmoil. And I had my friend Camilla tell me this the other day, and it was, it really stuck with me. And I've heard it online, of course, and I've seen it a lot, but I kind of just forgot about it. So it was nice to be reminded. But this is the only family member that you can actually choose. So choose somebody who shows these attributes that bring out the best in you, who are, they're able to take care of themselves. They're emotionally mature, like all these green flags. Like, you want somebody in your life like that, because this is the only person that you can choose in your family. And if you do want kids and you do want, a beautiful marriage that lasts, it is something to take note of. And you don't have to suffer through life, especially in a toxic relationship. It can get better, and you just have to choose that. And I hope that you do. And, I hope that this episode served as a good reminder that there are good people in the world that do show all of these green flags, and there are people in the world that are willing to learn and grow and want to be there for you genuinely. And if you resonated with some of these, I hope that you can take them, and I hope that you can learn from them and grow as well. And I was just thinking a lot about relationships the last little bit, and I do think the green flag should be celebrated, and also just a good opportunity for us to, take more note of, okay, what do I need to take note of in my relationship? What do I maybe want to change myself? What do I want to, learn and grow from? How can I expand? Things like that. So I appreciate you listening to me in today's episode. I am going to hopefully relax for the rest of the day. Obviously, edit this, listen back to it, make sure it's okay, upload it for you guys for Monday morning as you're listening to this. But I hope that your week is filled with endless opportunities of joy and love and light. I'm sending all of that incredible energy to you, so I hope that you feel it. Thank you again, as always, for listening to me. I appreciate you. I felt like I was yapping away in a circle here, but maybe that's because I haven't really talked to anybody today, seeing as that I've been inside all day. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll talk to you next Monday. Okay, bye.